Welcome to another webinar brought to you by your BrightDoor support team. Today we're going to discuss our brand new landing page feature. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to explain what a landing page is, how to use it, and how to create one in Brightbase. Now let's introduce Kimberly, who will show you the basics.
One of the questions that we get asked a lot after we've released this is, what is a landing page and why did you spend all this time to create the feature within your product? Well, really, a landing page is a single web page that allows your customers, the people that you're trying to reach, to do a specific action as quickly as possible, which in most cases for real estate means that you're trying to gather their contact information as the lead into your database. It really should be an extension of an advertisement, a link, or maybe even possibly Google search results that you have created. So it should take someone straight to this page, and again, it should be an actionable page, meaning you're trying to funnel them into something specific that you want them to do. But wait, what is the difference between SEO and SEM, and how does all that relate to a landing page? Well, SEO is your search engine optimization. This is the configuration that you have completed on the back end of your website so that your community and or the particular campaign show up higher in search results. SEM is just search engine marketing, and it's really the digital form of advertising, such as a banner ad, a pay-per-click ad, or a sponsored listing in search results. You'll see that I have a small screenshot on the page that shows and has highlighted some of these particular ads. It's a pay-per-click ad, and then on the right-hand side also some other sponsored listing ads that you would actually be paying for. Of course, it's a form of advertisement, but this might be the result of a campaign and that you may want to target someone to a specific landing page. Oftentimes you can tell the difference between a landing page and a public website is that a landing page is going to look like the pages that we saw just a minute ago that only have a few specific fields that you're trying to get information on, and it's not having someone navigate through your entire web page. And really, let's think about the how and the why you would use a landing page. A landing page is great for lead generation. If you create a campaign and you send someone to your public website, they've got to navigate through your website and look for a particular place to fill out the contact form. With a landing page, it's right there in front of them, and it's great for you to get information about a customer for either an event or a grand opening, a phased release, or even a new community that your developer might be starting. It's also great for click-throughs. It helps point your prospects directly to a page on your website, and it is, again, for a featured offer. You'll often see a landing page for in retail, so I'm trying to sell a specific widget or gizmo, and so I want you to go straight to the page where you can order that and you don't have to search through my entire listing of all my products. In the real estate world, it can look exactly the same. I'm trying to sell a specific home, or I'm trying to get you to give me information for our grand opening. It could be for on-page action. Oftentimes you'll see this, companies will do this for something called a white paper. It means just an informative piece of material that they've written. And so in order for them to send you that information, you're required to give them your name and email. So it could be the same thing for a virtual tour or even a brochure. They could request that brochure by giving you their name and email. And lastly, don't think about that landing pages are just for new leads. You all have an existing database, and it actually is a great way to get them to sign up for special events. So you could capture registrations for an event that you have. If your community sponsors a race, or your community is sponsoring a holiday hot cocoa with Santa, it would be a great way to get folks to sign up, and those would be tracked in the database with existing records. So different places that you can use landing pages. Of course, I've already mentioned a pay-per-click campaign. QR codes. You may have QR codes on specific areas or specific material that you have, whether it is a new brochure, a QR code in a house, in a window of a home. You could point that QR code back to this landing page so that someone could sign up specifically for that piece of property or brochure. eBlast is a great way for your current database. Again, if you're trying to get them to an event or sign up for an event, use the URL that you create for your landing page in an eBlast. And then I also mentioned printed materials such as brochures, Billboards might be a great way. If you've got 4 or 5 billboards that you're working on a campaign, you could use a different landing page for each of those billboards. And again, you can track the success of the billboard. Are they getting seen on a certain interstate or side road versus another? One of the questions we get asked a lot, or that we've heard since we've released this particular feature, is that, well, my agency, my marketing agency that I'm working with already does these for me. Why should I use Brightbase to build them? The easy answer is all of those registrations that someone fills out on your landing page are automatically created in the database. So there's no managing duplicate databases or having to import leads. They're automatically going into the database, and they're associated with that particular campaign. Also, one of the things is that the templates we have created are responsive and mobile friendly. What that means is that if any of your customers are looking at this page on another device, such as a phone or a tablet, then it will be responsive to that, and they will not have to scroll. It will look appropriate on that device. I'm sure you've tried to open up a web page on your phone recently, and you've had to scroll or zoom in. No need to do that with these pages. And as I've mentioned before, it also will allow you to track more than just new contacts. So if someone who is in your database responds to a particular campaign, it will get noted in their record, and we will not create a brand new contact or have to deal with duplicates. So lastly, I'm kind of a visual person, so I like to look at pictures. So one of the things I did for this particular slide is just, again, to remind you, really over here on the left-hand side is all the work that you're doing to create and generate your different campaigns, places that you're going to get the word out about your community and or products. And then, of course, you're going to come into the database, into Brightbase, and create this landing page as a support tool for this marketing campaign. That is generated in Brightbase. We host the actual page, and you're given a URL that you can then plug into all of these different marketing areas, whether it's a pay-per-click campaign, print materials, or e-blast marketing. And then lastly, as those leads respond to that campaign, it comes back into the database, and you're able to track the different success. So I mentioned the 5 different billboards. You could see which one is doing better based on the leads created. You also are going to be able to capture those new leads directly into the database, and then you can track registrations for a certain event if you're using it for people who are already in the database. All right, so that being said, we're ready to go ahead and get into the product and take a look at the landing pages. As a reminder, the app itself, or the landing page app, is a permission-based area within the application. So some of you may go into your database and not be able to see that. You'll need to just double check with your account manager on how to get that set up and where that actually is so that you can have access to the landing page. It lives in the Apps tab appropriately. Once I click on the Apps tab, I'll then have an icon that is specific to the landing pages. Once I select the landing pages icon, I'm taken to my list of all the landing pages that have been created within my database. Mind you, this also means that if multiple people within your organization have access to the landing page tool, then you will all be able to see and work on all of the landing pages. It is not user specific. Once you come to this page, you'll see a couple of different things. Of course, you'll see any landing pages that have been built within your database. You'll see the status of those landing pages. Published means this is a live page out there in the real world that somebody could find or have access to. Unpublished, think of that as a draft mode, so that you've been working on the landing page, but you haven't published it out in the world. The results area, we're starting to tabulate some of the activity on the landing page on your behalf. You'll see the visitors area. This counts how many people have clicked and landed on your page. This is anonymous traffic. Once someone actually fills out that form and submits their registration, then we will count that as a lead. To get the conversion rate, we're simply dividing the number of visitors by the total number of leads or people that have registered in your page. And then lastly, on the far right-hand side, you'll see an area that is called Update Date. This just triggers or is accounting for the page in which the order that you've worked on them. So it might be something that's convenient. You want to sort by update date to find the most recent one that you were working on. And in the Actions column, once you hover your mouse over the arrow, you'll be able to see the different options that you have if you want to edit a specific page, view what the live page is, duplicate the page, so you want to copy and paste it, just make something slightly different. You could delete the page, and then the Reset Stats button is helpful for once you've actually practiced and looked and previewed your page. You may not want to count your clicks in that total result set because they were practiced. You may want to reset those stats and start at 0 to get a better and accurate measure of your campaign. You also see the area where you can create a new page, which is this orange button here. And then underneath in the landing page actions, you'll see Create New Page link. Those both do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and create a new page and walk through that today just so you'll see how easy it is. Once you come to this page, you'll be asked for two things. One is create the name of your page, and then also you want to pick a page template. For those of you that have used the vertical response template or email marketing template, you'll find this very similar. We've created 9 different templates for you on your behalf today. These are some pretty standard templates. We did a lot of research to find some of the most successful templates and setups for landing pages. So hopefully that will make it a lot easier for you as far as where it's getting started related to design. So I'm just going to go ahead and create this. In my community, I'm going to sponsor a sleigh ride for folks. So I'm going to create this landing page to get people to sign up for it. Then I'm going to pick one of the templates. So I simply hover my mouse over the one I want to choose, and I click that. And then I go ahead and select Create and Edit Page. Once I'm here, I now am in the editor. So you see at the very top I have 3 different tabs. I have the Design tab that lets me pick and choose colors for either the text on my page or different buttons. I have the Search tab, which this is especially important if you're going to include this landing page as part of your campaign. For those of you that are familiar with creating banner ads or pay-per-click ads or sponsored listings, you're going to really utilize the title and description that you've entered into those ads. Some search engines still rely on keywords. Some of the bigger ones, such as Google, don't rely on them as frequently. They really rely on the title and description that you've already programmed in. And you also have the ability to include Google Analytics on these pages if you have your own Google account. So if you may want to enter and track your own traffic, maybe where some of the demographics are coming from, etc. Some more detailed analytics that we're not providing. Of course, if this is an invite-only landing page, meaning you selected 100 people within your database to send this registration form to, you may not want to include this in search results. So then you could either choose to hide this page from search results or leave this entirely blank and it will never show up in someone's search. Last but not least, at the very top, you have the ability to define your registration fields, and we'll get back to this in just a minute as far as how that would look on the page that you're creating. I'm going to go back to the design page. The very top choice that I have is to choose a background color. The default color is white. If you wanted to make it a different color, we'll say we're going to do red for the holidays. I can choose, and then you'll see now my page is a background of red. The default text color, just choose it to white against the red background, just for kind of a gray color. And now everything changes to that color. Text link color, this is if you're going to create a hyperlink within your landing page. That's not a very common practice, but you may want to include your public website at the bottom or in the footer of your campaign that you're building. So you could include that down here. So you may want to change that color to something a little bit different. We'll pick black just for fun today. And then lastly, the register button color is the last color that I can choose. And instead, I may want to change this to more of a green color, considering we're in the holiday spirit. And now I see that my button is green at the bottom. The last thing that I can change on this particular area is what I actually say on the label for the label of the registration button. And I could just change this to register today, and then it will update here. So you do have some flexibility as far as what you want to say. Best practice-wise, it's usually something actionable like register, submit, tell me more. You just want to make it to where it's obvious for what someone needs to do next. In this case, I want to go ahead and add in a picture. When I click inside anywhere in this field, I now have a toolbar that lets me do some more formatting. I'm going to go ahead and update or insert an image. I've gone ahead and I have some images here just as an example, but I could choose from any of these. If I needed to upload a new image, I select Upload New Image, and then it will give me my local computer, my local things that I need to add in, and I'm just going to pick this holiday one. And then it will go ahead and add it into my particular library. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and pick a as my banner image. We default, you'll see that we give you some hints as far as the size of your image goes. And again, depending on the template that you've chosen, you may, I've just done one single image for simplicity's sake, but you may have multiple images depending on what you're trying to include in your campaign. Next, I'm going to go down and fill out what I want to say on my particular page. We've given you some hint text, but for a sleigh ride and hot chocolate. And then, of course, I can give some more details about my event down here if I wanted to, and just promote the actual event. And then I could say, come meet your neighbors over a warm, hot Coke. Details. And I want to make the word website an active link. So I highlighted that word. I come up to the hyperlink button. And here I'm going to type in the URL where I want somebody to go to. And then I go ahead and select OK. And now my website will be a hot link within my page. At any point in time, if I want to preview what my page is going to look like, I can go ahead and select Preview Page. We're saving this in the background, and then we're going to open up and there's the page as I'm looking for it. Remember, this is not a live page. Someone couldn't actually come here and register, but this is just a way to help you see what's going on and what it's looking like. Now I'm going to go ahead and go over to the registration component and decide what I want to include for my registration fields. One of the things that's important to remember about a landing page is you want someone to be quick on this page. So you don't really, it's not intended for you to ask a lot of questions, include tons of other demographic data. So we're only allowing you today to include any of these 8 fields. By default, every landing page you create will always have a first name, last name, and an email address. And in this case, I'll just add phone for an example. On the right-hand side, what we consider to be global attributes, these are all of the back-end attributes that are going to be tied to the contact when they enter into the database. So for this case, I'm going to use ungraded prospect. I don't know what this prospect is going to be. You could, of course, make this anything you wanted to. First communication method, usually it's going to be something called website or landing page. Remember, these are all customizable within your individual databases. You can pick and choose what you want to show up. Secondary lead source, you may be thinking, well, where's primary lead source? We're actually creating that on your behalf, so you don't have to go in and manage to create or remember to create a landing page lead source that corresponds to this. But you can select a secondary lead source. An example that I've used is for if you are using this as an invite only to a specific list that you've purchased or you've generated on your own, you may tie it back to that list, such as Founders Club List 2013. You could certainly fill that in. The post-registration message is going to be the registration message that pops up after somebody successfully submits their information. In this case, it could be, thank you for your registration. We'll keep your hot chocolate warm. And lastly, once someone clicks OK, you may want to redirect them to your own website. You may want to redirect them to a certain page. Typically, it's going to be your own website or your organization's website. So we'll just use the Bright Door example today. And I'm going to just make sure I save all of my changes. And I'm ready to go. I now have a page that I'm ready to publish to make a live, living page out there. And all I need to do is click Publish Page on the right-hand side. What we're doing on the back end is creating this live URL for you. We're going to provide it to you in this pop-up. You can copy and paste it from this point, but then also you'll be able to see it on the main landing page list when we go back to it. So I'm just going to click OK. and we'll go back to lists. And now I see the page that I just created, the Sleigh Ride December, and you're all set with your URL to use in different places, whether you're going to put it on the back end of a banner ad, you're going to put it on a sponsored listing, or even use it for some of your other printed materials like we've talked about. Here's a living, breathing version of that particular page. I'm going to go ahead and enter in this particular contact. I'm going to make it I'm just going to use a brand new email address, and then of course I added in the phone number. And then I simply select register today. So remember that I'm a prospect out in the real world submitting my information. And here's our pop-up window that says registration successful. Here's the message that we typed in. And then once we'll go to the BrightDoor homepage, that's the URL I posted at the end after a successful registration. Now, you may think, well, okay, how do I know that somebody is submitting a lead into a landing page? A couple of different ways. For any of you that have an unassigned prospect widget turned on your homepage, those leads will start to show up in that widget. You also can use one of the filters for unassigned contacts to go in and find those. Also, for those of you who receive post-registration notification emails, you'll still get one for those contacts as well. So here's the one that I just did today, and it's in the database. Let's take a closer look at that contact. So you'll be able to see here is the ungraded prospect that I selected. Here's the website that I keyed in as the initial contact type. And then here's the primary lead source that was created on our behalf as we were doing the page. And then, of course, the create date is going to be today. Also, underneath the activities, we're making an activity that says landing page registration so that you'll be able to take a look at, this is a new contact that's registered for the Sleigh Ride December landing page. Let's imagine that this person wants to register for 5 or multiple sleigh rides, so they come back to your page and they submit a registration again. And they use the same email address. I can't remember what I just used. It was test.register. Well, we can look and see. I just want to show you it's registration. So this is, again, if somebody uses the same email address, we're going to go ahead address. They will be entered in as a new contact. We won't have a way to duplicate check for those. So let's go back to our contact, take a look, and then I have 2 registrations into this contacts record. I have the brand new contact, and then I have a repeat registration. So from a reporting standpoint, you may be able to go in and find these activities or capture them by using some of the reports you already have in the database, especially one called the Detailed Activity History Report. You may be able to take a look at those and filter on the activity type of, let's go down, landing page. You may want to find who are my repeat registrants. So that's a way that you can kind of catalog and keep up with those, especially if you're using this for an event. Some of the things that are coming down the line related to landing pages to just increase and build on this feature, we will be working on more templates. Meaning additional templates that you can choose from. Today there are 9. We also are going to be creating a widget so that you can monitor your landing page activity right on the home page within Brightbase. And then also we're thinking about doing some more customization for the templates, meaning allowing you to take a look at those and add in some even more, maybe some different fonts, different additional colors, different drag and drop. But certainly those are some features that we're working on for down the road. This concludes our presentation. I do have some questions, so I'm going to just take a brief pause and take a look at those, and then we'll try to answer those if they are relevant. So just a second. So one of the questions is, can we assign a specific landing page registration to a specific primary agent instead of unassigned? Today, they will all go to unassigned. It's something that we've thought about and we've talked about in the future, but based on general feedback that we got from some of the customers, we previewed this to, it was most helpful to create it as unassigned, but it's certainly something that we can take into consideration moving forward.
Well, thank you, Kimberly, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today. If you have any other questions, feel free to browse around our new knowledge base at knowledgebase.brightdoor.com or contact your account manager or other support members at BrightDoor. Have a great day.